The Supreme Court heard arguments on Wednesday in an affirmative action case that could transform college admissions nationwide. It dates back to a lawsuit filed in 2008 when Abigail Fisher says she was denied admission to the University of Texas in favor of lesser qualified minorities. Justice reporter Paula Reid joins us now from Washington. And Paula, if you can take us through Abigail Fisher's argument here.
In the state of Texas, any student who graduates in the top 10% of his class is guaranteed admission to the University of Texas. But the rest of the freshman class is filled out by students who are evaluated on what they call a holistic approach. And part of that assessment includes your test scores, any leadership roles, your family background, and race. Abigail Fisher argues it is unconstitutional to consider race even a little bit, and even if it's to advance the cause of diversity. So she argues that she was illegally denied admission to the University of Texas on account of her race.
And then the hearing today got pretty heated. Justice Scalia taking a lot of heat in public and on Twitter for what people are calling racist. They got a lot of reaction on Twitter.
These comments have gotten a lot of reaction on Twitter. Now, I was in the court when he made these comments. It didn't create a huge stir. Nobody thought it was a headline. But after we left a few hours later, these comments did get traction. Let me read you what he said. He said, "There are those who contend that it does not benefit African Americans to get them into the University of Texas where they do not do well, as opposed to having them go to a less advanced school, a slower track school where they do well." One of the briefs pointed out that most of the black scientists in this country don't come from schools like the University of Texas. Of course, these comments were noticeable, but it wasn't until people started reading the transcripts that he started being criticized. Now, when I went back and looked at the transcript, it's easy to see how someone could be offended, especially if they don't have the full context for these arguments. Now, he is essentially paraphrasing a brief and a common argument against affirmative action, which is that students should not be promoted beyond their academic abilities solely because of their race. But on the other side, there are no surprises in a Supreme Court argument. He knew the issues, he knew the arguments he wanted to make, and there was certainly perhaps a more delicate way to make these arguments. He went on to say, now, the number of blacks, really competent blacks, admitted to lesser schools. Again, his use of language, calling anyone competent / their race, or calling a school lesser, it's just very inartful. And other justices were able to make their points and sort of attack each side in a much more direct way. For example, Chief Justice Roberts asked, "What unique perspective does a minority student bring to a physics class?" That's a very direct, sensitive way to attack the arguments of the University of Texas. So you can see why Scalia doesn't want cameras in the courtroom. Things can be taken out of context. However, I'd also argue even if you put this fully into context, it is easy to see how some people could be offended by his choice of words.
We saw the comment there from Rashida Jones calling this racism. Any way you cut it, no spin, or you're going to tell me I'm illiterate now. That's Rashida Jones's take on things. Where do you think this is going to end up, Paula? What's the likely outcome here? I mean, we tend to see Justice Anthony Kennedy falling on the fulcrum of the court, right? All eyes tend to be on what Anthony Kennedy is going to say because whatever he does say seems to be the way the court case goes.
That's a good point. And here we have a unique balance because Justice Kagan had to recuse herself. So a 4-4 split is possible, but we know we expect a decision in the spring. And any outcome in this case could potentially impact the presidential campaigns.
Okay. Paula Reid for us tonight in Washington. Thank you so much.